Welcome to
Great
Bonehead.
cue.
As you can see, this looks slightly different, and half of Chad's head's going. Now, if you're listening
Nobody
to us,
cares to see me.
somebody out
All
there,
they
you
wanna
have
see
a
is a shirt.
fan.
I
You
have-
have a fan. Or do you really think you're your mom's favorite?
Yes, I do.
See, James can't see us with this new software. Can you, James?
No,
You can
no,
also
I'm,
talk, James. Yes,
We'll
absolutely.
work on it, but
I'm just imagining you as different people. So
My wife has
Svengali-
been doing that for years.
so Svengali and Shaggy. I'm glad I'm on this show with you all.
Yeah. But anyway,
What?
we're trying something new because Dr. Jerkface decided to move to Mississippi. So we are trying to make this easier on ourselves.
right.
Now, if we were smart, we would have tried to do these improvements before Haley left us.
Yeah.
And Haley'd still be with us instead of not being with us.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Right? All
Miss
right.
you, Haley.
Miss you, Haley. But if you're not Haley, I don't have anything funny to say.
Yeah. This is a kickoff to a great new start for Bonehead Weekly.
I know. I know.
Words.
It's
We're
gonna-
saying them.
For you people who are watching, is really going to be the only big difference,
Yeah.
right?
Well, in some regards,
The audio,
the audio is actually probably going to sound better.
right. If
'Cause-
you listen to us on SoundCloud, if you listen to us on iTunes, if you listen to us on what's the other one we added?
Spotify.
Spotify,
I said Hulu.
Cashbox. If you listen to us
Oh,
on
I
any
wish
of
we
those
could get
things,
some of that good sweet Hulu monies.
oh my God, I would love to have some Hulu money. Then this will sound actually quite a bit better. We've
Yeah.
upgraded our equipment. For the video, it looks a little different though. But we did get one of these really nice 4K webcams.
Yeah, and then in preparation for the fact that I knew we were going to be sitting this close together,
Uh-huh.
I had a very special meal.
Beans?
No, 2 White Castles, and then for dessert, sauerkraut.
You didn't have sauerkraut for dessert. You had cookies. You stole them from my son.
Okay, I had a second dessert.
You had 2 desserts. You're a hobbit.
I only had 1 cookie.
The thing about all of this that makes me
It's a
upset
big ass
is-
cookie.
The thing that makes me upset about all of this is the fact that you only had 2 White Castles, you lightweight.
It's all that was left.
Yeah.
So let's
They
talk.
make more.
So in prep,
They make more.
so we hear James, but James is currently the internet connection is unstable and he's not moving.
Yeah, James.
So in other words,
Anyway, moving right along. So
So
welcome to Bonehead. Really quick, I want to say thank you to Wes Forsyth and Anita Forsyth. But Wes was kind enough to reach out, and you guys know them from Scarefest, and they're dear friends of ours, and they've been friends of the show. Of course, we're huge supporters of Scarefest. I want to thank Wes for giving us some tutorials and helping us out, specifically with the new software. We appreciate it. Thank you, Wes.
yes.
That being said, this is our second parter. I apologize for last week's not having an episode. That's actually my fault.
Yes, it is.
I had some family things. What should I make up?
James.
I was going to go ahead and assume that it was yet another intervention for your left-leaning family, liberal ways.
Yeah,
He had to go start building the wall.
yeah, basically.
We
We
had
knew there was
to
going to be a
stop them from taking them sledgehammers down there to the Texas border.
Absolutely. But anyway, I apologize. That's my fault. So back to what we promised you was our second part of our character actor episode.
Mm-hmm.
We decided last time, and a lot of it was my fault. Chad actually did a really good job of finding a lot of women character actors, whereas James and I totally dropped the ball. Right, James?
Well, those normally, historically were called actresses, and we had said we were doing character actors.
So you're saying Chad doesn't know the English language?
Well, now it's more normal nomenclature, except at Oscar time, where they do still treat them as separate by gender, which gets into the politics of what will happen when we have somebody that's transgender nominated for an Academy Award, which should happen, #modern.
Speaking of which, I'm listening to Eddie Izzard's autobiography.
That's
Oh, yeah.
fascinating.
Well, because I've had to drive back and forth to Hazard to the hospital.
Uh-huh.
I stopped on the way one morning. I could have got there. Family members were in the hospital.
Yep.
But I took 10 minutes to stop at the Lexington Public Library to pick that up. It's a long drive by yourself, my friend. It's a long drive.
Oh, is there a long drive in your future there, Joe? Is there? Is there? You
There's been. Oh, that's true. I could drive down and see you. Maybe in April. So, who wants to go first? It's not me. Not it.
James, I can go if you want to go. If you don't.
Whichever. Chad,
okay, I'll go. And for my list, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with kind of obscure, and then go straight into some of the best in the business.
Okay.
So right off the bat, I'm going to start with Anne Ramsey.
Is she that obscure?
No, I don't. I mean, okay.
I mean, it's not James Thomas obscure.
I don't think she's obscure, but in terms of modern.
Anthony Zerber's not obscure. I go back to that. You all just don't have any class. You got no class.
But in terms of modern time,
I know who Anne Ramsey was.
A lot of people do know. So Anne Ramsey is famous for Goonies.
She wrote that book, Atlas Shrugged. Atlas Shrugged.
That's so funny because I almost said she wrote that book, Flowers in the Attic. But that's V.C. Andrews.
Yeah.
But I know the difference, but I wasn't making a joke in my head. It was like, she wrote Flowers in the Attic. No. Them two kids is getting it on, and everybody's poison.
So Anne Ramsey, she's most famous for Goonies. Let's face it, Goonies is her most pivotal role.
And
but her
Scrooge.
best,
Throw Mama from the Train.
I was gonna say, but her best movie is Throw Mama from the Train, and she was in Scrooge. She was also in
I can see your notes.
I know. She was also in Any Which Way You Can. And,
is she really?
Yeah, she was in it.
I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
And she was also in Going South.
I have the original one-sheet theatrical poster for Going South.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Also
It is.
Dr. Hackenstein.
And is that the first thing Jack Nicholson directed? No, he would have directed what's the Monkeys movie? He directed that, right? The actor, Jack Nicholson.
Not the golfer.
Huh?
Not the golfer.
Head.
Head.
He directed Head. He's all about Head.
Yeah. Damn hippies.
Yeah, sure. I'm not a hippie, and I'm all about Head, Chad.
But yeah, the reason why I picked her though,
Blink.
She perfectly captures, especially in her later in her life, and the reason why I thought she might be kind of obscure. Granted, Goonies
died quite early.
1989.
She died right after Scrooge, right?
Yeah, 1989.
Yeah.
Actually, she died shortly after Throw Mama from the Train.
Really? That came after Scrooge?
Yeah.
Now the guy that's with her is her husband, right?
Yeah, is her husband, not the one from Bonnie and Clyde and
No, the other guy. No.
But she perfectly captured the grumpy old woman who everybody hated.
But you love to hate her.
But you love to hate Anne Ramsey, and that's why I picked her. For example, she famously got throat cancer and had to have parts of her tongue and jawbone removed, which is why Throw Mama from the Train, she talks like that.
But doesn't she talk that way in the other movies?
No.
She doesn't talk that way in Goonies?
No, she doesn't talk like that in Goonies. She doesn't. She has it sort of there, but it's really noticeable in Throw Mama from the Train.
I think a piece of trivia though, she had actually some of the initial surgery to have some of her tongue removed before Goonies, because they kind of added that "cat got your tongue" line because she had part of her tongue already removed.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I think you're right. But she was mostly known for that, and she actually got nominated for an Oscar for Throw Mama from the Train.
I didn't know that. That's directed by Danny DeVito.
And it's directed by Danny DeVito, which one of the
Danny DeVito, for people that don't know, also was involved in a film more people know called Death to Smoochie.
Yeah, but and that's one. If we ever talked about underappreciated directors, Danny DeVito would be on that list.
Well, yeah, he gave us
us Death to Smoochie, Matilda, Throw Mama from the Train.
Dude, he gave us War of the Roses.
War of the Roses.
The thing is, though, War of the Roses.
And we're talking about actresses, and we're talking about Danny DeVito.
I know, but War of the Roses. Well, I'm from a broken home, and I think that's one of the 3 best movies about divorce.
They put it back together.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. It doesn't work out for the Roses or the Louis.
Well, if you didn't live out in the holler in a house made of straw, it wouldn't fall apart all the time.
I was raised solid middle holler class, which would be working poor everywhere else in the world. except for Lithuania.
So that's-
Lithuania. We're upper middle.
So that's my first pick is Anne Ramsey. James, what do you got?
That's
Well,
a good
you
one.
know,
That's a
since
good solid one.
already-
What, Anne
What-
Ramsey?
Anne Ramsey's a good solid one.
Oh,
That's-
wait till you hear my second one.
I saw it,
You bastard.
but it's good. I
Thank
agree
you.
with It's amazing.
Since you've already broke the great film of Every Which Way But Loose,
If this son of a bitch does it, I'm going to cook him
it's
too.
Ruth Gordon.
You bastard! That's my second
Gotta
pick.
go Ruth Gordon.
That's
That's
my
a great
second
one.
pick.
That's a good one.
Ruth Gordon, Rosemary's Baby,
Never heard
Harold
of it.
and Maude. Harold and Maude probably is the most Ruth Gordon role. But
Harold-
do you know what Ruth Gordon gave us? It is also why I had to go with Ruth Gordon.
Is it because of the Lord Love a Duck?
No,
I've
do you know what
seen
she-
Lord Love a Duck.
I know you
I
have.
have tried to get you all to watch the damn thing.
Do you know what she wrote?
Are you talking about Pat and Mike?
No, I'm talking about Adam's Rib with Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn.
Oh, did she write that?
He wrote that.
She
Oh,
also
really?
she also wrote Pat and Mike with Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn, directed by George Cukor.
And so Ruth Gordon started acting in 1915.
Yeah.
Dude.
So she did silent film, and then literally disappeared. Acted into the 40s, worked as a screenwriter in the 40s, and did a bunch of that stuff. And then came out a little bit in the 1950s again. Did one movie in 1950, then disappeared till 1965. 15 years.
Wow.
I mean, was on Broadway and doing theater, but as far as film, Ruth Gordon is that character that, again, once you see her, you know exactly who she is.
Yeah, if you needed a gruff, hard talking old woman with
Yeah.
a little bit of senility left, you went to Ruth
Yeah,
Gordon.
Ruth Gordon.
And by the way, my parents always thought Every Which Way But Loose was fine for me to watch as a kid until Ruth Gordon was on screen.
Why? I haven't seen it in a long time. I haven't watched either one of those since I was a kid.
Ruth Gordon is pretty foul-mouthed and uses her middle finger quite often in those films.
Yeah.
If I'm remembering correctly.
But
my-
she's Ruth Gordon.
Well, remember I was raised by Puritans, so
Yeah.
but it was they always were like, oh, it's it's got a chimp, it's a good time, there's no major issues, and then Ruth Gordon would be chewing somebody out on the front porch or something, and they'd be like, oh yeah, that he doesn't need to watch that.
I just can't believe you and I, by the way, as always, we compile our list and we don't talk to each other so we can be surprised by each other's picks. And that's why I'm surprised now that two of us picked Ruth Gordon. Because I was
But
like,
there's nobody that was like Ruth Gordon except for Ruth Gordon.
Yeah,
And
no.
So, I mean, she was kind of a pretty close ultimate character actress of her lifespan.
yeah. And then like we said, in the 1950s, she was writing, a woman was writing movies that were really making a lot of money at the box office.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
and Adam's Rib went on after years later. It became a TV series, and she wrote for the TV series.
Yeah,
Really?
and I think Pat and Mike might have been the 20th.
I've never seen Pat
and Mike is either the 20th. It's in the top. It's either in the top 20 or top 30 highest grossing films of 1952.
Hmm.
And it was directed by great George Cukor, who directed My Fair Lady and A Philadelphia Story. So,
Oh yeah,
and that was
No.
Ruth Gordon, who,
My Fair Lady.
like I said, obviously does not, and two people, and I'm assuming Joe's opinion, does not get the respect that she deserves in terms of Hollywood for her contribution.
Yeah.
So, you ready
So-
for?
Yeah.
Ruth Gordon was mine. That was the one that I automatically said she's the top of my list.
And by the way, I'm going to make a note that there is one person I intentionally didn't pick.
Who?
I'm not going to say because I'm hoping one of you two pick it, and if you don't, by the last one, since James stole mine, I shall mention her.
Okay.
Oh, really? I stole it? I did research. I did all the legwork, and I stole it? How about we happen to have the same idea, except I had it better?
How is that?
He got a little bit of hair just coming up.
Yeah,
on
he
the
does.
back
He's got
here.
a cowlick there.
You got a little of a
I
cowlick
do.
on the
I need a
back.
haircut. I need
Yeah.
a haircut.
And for
But,
you
know,
people who are watching the YouTube version, I was told by Christy Lewis that it looks like dog shit behind me because we're actually sitting at my desk where we've edited all of our, for the last couple of things that we've
Yeah.
done and everything else.
Yeah.
And this really is where I write and stuff, and it does look like everybody else's. So it's time for me to go. Now, the other two boneheads gave me the biggest crap. Like I said, I've had some things going on, and I didn't get most of my research done. I know. Playing just for me, right, Chad?
Yep. I was playing for our listeners. I was playing the tiniest violin.
Are you sure?
No. There's probably one tinier.
It's still bigger
Somebody
than your
has tinier
penis.
hands than me.
So, moving right along. I had one picked out, and I said screw it because the other one, and I'm going to get crap from both of you from picking somebody who is well known for this, but she is probably one of the best character actors of all time, Madeline Kahn.
Oh no, she was on my list.
Yeah, she's not. She didn't make it on my list because I thought one of you two would have brought her up.
Oh,
But
she's
that's
on
still
your
not-
list? Holy cow, she was in a movie, and she made it to his list. Did you know that? She was in one of those motion pictures, and she made it to his list. Madeline Kahn
You can't. Yeah, you can't.
is
Mad-
probably what?
I believe pronounced Khan.
Madeline Kahn
There you go.
is one of the best character actors of all time.
No doubt.
If you're a fan of comedy, she was in Mel Brooks. She's in Blazing Saddles. She's in Young Frankenstein. She's in High Anxiety.
You know, near the end of her life, she was in not the Cosby Show,
no,
but
she
Cosby.
was in Bill Cosby's other show.
Called Cosby.
Cosby,
Cosby,
which
yeah.
was about him having to take retirement. And I know, historically, we're not supposed to talk about Cosby anymore for good reason, but she was the best part of that show.
She was.
Oh, no doubt.
Oh, yeah, she totally was. I can remember a couple episodes. She died of cancer right after that, right?
Yeah.
Actually, it was still on the air because they did an in memoriam to her, and I remember watching the in memoriam. It was a half-hour special they did before one of the episodes.
The unfortunate thing about Madeline Kahn was that she didn't live long enough to see so many more great roles, because I think if she were still around today, the last 20 years, she would have just knocked him out of the park.
Right.
I mean, there's just so many. Can you imagine the roles that have happened that went to probably other great actresses that would have went to her?
Could you imagine? Because I just, in my mind,
She was song, she was dance, she
the-
was funny, she was beautiful.
the movie Snatched with Goldie Hawn playing the mother of Amy
Oh,
Schumer.
Madeline Kahn would have been better.
Couldn't you just, no
Yeah.
offense to Goldie Hawn.
No, I just don't know that Goldie Hawn is cast. Have you ever seen it?
No,
it's
I've not
bad.
seen it.
It's bad. But
But I just, you just sit there and be like, oh, if you would have had Madeline Kahn on set for her to give feedback and her to throw out
or
one
maybe
line.
if she'd just been the crazy ass aunt.
Yeah, something.
Yeah, something to liven that movie up. But anyway, Madeline Kahn, for me, even though Blazing Saddles is maybe one of my favorite movies of all time, she's in one of the best 80s movies of Clue. And she has one of the best lines of, flames coming out of my head. No one could have delivered that well.
So there's a lesser known movie that she's in. She was in a movie with John Cleese, Grant Chapman, Cheech and Chong, and the list goes on, called Yellowbeard.
Yellowbeard.
And she was by far the best part of that movie.
I've never seen it.
It's
Awful, right?
I laugh. It's
Do you
not
have
a
a copy of that?
No, I don't. I've watched it on. It's been on cable. Like we're in on cable like every
I've
other day.
never seen it.
It's entertaining. It's funny, but she kills it.
She's
And-
also the best part of my Sherlock Holmes' smarter brother, Gene
Wilder,
Wilder,
yeah,
right?
Sherlock Holmes'
Gene
younger
Wilder
brother.
a ton
Yeah.
of times.
So yeah, I mean, any movie she's in is enhanced just because she's in it.
I agree.
So
No, I mean, I don't know that we're going by a list. Actually, I had somebody else picked out, and I just changed my mind because I was thinking about her, and I was on the way driving home. I was driving by myself, and I just got off the phone with somebody, and I just started laughing. She made me laugh. She's been dead 20 years. She made me laugh
Yeah.
today without even seeing her. Just thinking about her, it made me smile.
So yeah, I mean that's a great pick.
Thank you.
So
I appreciate your validation. It meant the fucking world to me that you validated me.
She was on my
Ooh, I
same
said the
page,
F
my
word.
same little page of notes here as
Does that say College of Arts and Sciences on it?
No, doesn't.
It says
Ruth
UK
Gordon.
right at the bottom.
Yeah.
Ruth Gordon right here, and then Madeline.
I love how
Kahn was
James
at
said
the
he
top.
did it better and he hand wrote mine. I took the time to type mine mainly because I can't read my
I
damn
can't read
handwriting.
that. Chad and I can't write for shit, so
No.
we type everything out. Thank God we took typing classes.
So
Did you take a typing class?
yeah, I took type class.
I took typing class in college. High school.
Business typing. It says to use the numerical keypad. That's how I
You
took
can't
typing.
type.
No,
you do,
I do it
but you
one
can't.
finger.
He's a hunt and pecker.
But I'm efficient.
He's great at hunt and pecker.
Did you just hear James say he was efficient?
Yeah, that's bullshit.
I can write faster than you all can. I'll defend myself.
I'm glad he can't see our faces.
Right. Because it's a little bit of what's the word?
Shock and awe.
And disdain. Don't
Disdain.
forget the hate.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so my second pick.
I've written a 180-page dissertation.
So since he
And
stole
that one person read it.
since he stole Ruth Gordon, I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna move on to more modern times.
Yes.
And actually talk about an actress who is fairly new. She's been in quite a bit, but she's fairly new, and I think
Who
is
is it?
she's shaping out to be probably one of the best character actors of all time. Sally Hawkins.
Joe Ellswick.
No.
Oh, so, Sally
Sally
Hawkins,
Hawkins is a great
didn't make
actress.
my list, but
Yeah.
I did think about her.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Sally Hawkins. So if you don't know the name, you know the movies. She was in Shape of Water.
Mm-hmm.
She's Paddington 1 and 2,
Yep.
Blue Jasmine,
Yep.
and she's in Godzilla, which I had to remember. I forgot she was
Who's
in
she playing
Godzilla.
Godzilla?
I forgot the name of the character.
Go, go, Godzilla!
Yeah, she played Godzilla.
Did she
But it was
really?
motion. No, it was motion cap. Andy Serkis.
Go back and really watch it. You'll know it's her.
Andy Serkis can go
Andy
suck it.
Suckers. That's what they called him in college.
But she has never not given an amazing performance in any movie she's been in.
That's
Even
what
the
her
smallest.
husband says.
She was in Layer Cake. She has a bit part in Layer Cake.
Did she really?
Yeah, which by the way is Daniel Craig's best film, behind Road to Perdition.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm not counting Bond. I'm sorry.
Road to Perdition.
Road to Perdition is good. It's great.
It's based on a graphic novel.
It-
That's a comic book. too,
Yeah, I
think.
know.
Thank you, James.
It's directed by Sam Mendes.
But it's a Layer Cake and Road to Perdition are Daniel Craig's two best films. She kept you glued to the screen the whole time in Shape of Water and never said a word. Never said a word. The only other person that could do that, Kurt Russell, Soldier.
By the way, we need to do a whole episode of great. We haven't done great performances in terrible movies.
No, we haven't.
Because that would be number one, if not two.
Yeah.
Don't you think? Go
Yeah.
back and watch Soldier. That's a god awful movie, directed by Paul W.S. Anderson.
But man, he's good in it.
But man, he's good in it.
But and in Paddington, she's great in Paddington. But the problem with Paddington is she's overshadowed by
Effing bear
Ben Whishaw and Hugh Bonneville's performances,
and a talking bear.
and then respectively Hugh Grant, and yeah, but she's great in those movies,
Talking bear.
and she's driving the movie. That's what kills me.
Marmalade.
That whole scene where she's sneaking around Hugh Grant's house, phenomenal.
You
and
know, I
then,
haven't actually watched it yet. Now
Oh,
on the Blu-ray.
sorry, go watch it. It's amazing.
I know.
It's
It may be better than the first one, right?
oh, it's better than the first. No, man, they're both so good.
They're
and,
good. They're good.
And when we did our year
and they're
review,
not huge successes in America, but they're big in Europe.
Yeah. And finally,
I saw the first one in theaters.
Yeah.
I do too.
and her performance in Blue Jasmine is amazing, and it's only overshadowed because Kate Blanchett nailed it home. Another amazing actress, but her role in that movie as Kate Blanchett's best friend, amazing. So Sally Hawkins is my second pick.
All right,
It's
James.
technically my third pick because some jerkface stole my second pick.
Who's your second?
I'm sorry, I had the dignity to make her my first pick. My second one, I was thinking about people that when I see on screen, they're so good as a character actor that they make me automatically go, I know how they're going to play this.
Who is
And
it?
so I was thinking of Beth Grant. Do you all know who Beth Grant is? I'm not trying to be obscure. but
No,
it's
I don't
true.
know who Beth. Tell me what did
Beth
she, who did
Grant
she do?
is in Donnie Darko,
Okay.
No Country for Old Men, Little Miss Sunshine, Rain Man, Speed, Matchstick Men.
Is she
she's
the
an
mo- is she the older lady in Speed who doesn't want to drive?
She always plays.
That's
of this
her.
Yeah.
older, comes across as ultra conservative.
Yeah.
Angry. So in Donnie Darko, she's the teacher that doesn't want to have to deal with him, and you know all this other stuff.
Yeah,
And
she does do a good job of that.
Yeah, she's terrifying to Donnie
read-
Darko.
I read actually somewhere that there have been people that refer to her as the closest equivalent to a female Harry Dean Stanton, because if she's there, you're going to notice her.
Yeah,
because she puts out that vibe.
But good job.
She was in 223 movies.
Yes, she's a machine. And in television series,
girls. That's one of the movies.
Pushing Daisies.
Yeah.
Has a big fan following, but everything from Mr. Belvedere to Empty Nest. And for Star Trek fans, she has a very special connection.
How so?
She is the mother of Mary, I don't mispronounce this, but Chifo, Mary Chifo, who is L'Rell on Star Trek Discovery. So, I mean, there is an acting family there.
Oh.
Most people don't know that, but she is her mother. So she has this very unique connection. But again, as I was saying there,
my son is running across.
I didn't know her name either, but I was like, who the heck plays the teacher in Donnie Darko? Because I keep seeing her and stuff, and as soon as she's there, I know what she's going to be like. She's going to be an angry woman, usually conservative, usually.
Well, she nails it.
And that was it. So Beth Grant, there you go.
I'm going to give you kudos on that one because I never even thought of Beth Grant.
No, I didn't either.
So yeah,
but once you hear it, doesn't it make sense?
We should get her on Bonehead. All right, is it my turn?
Yeah, it's your turn, buddy.
Okay, so my actress spawned decades. And if she only had been in just The Magnificent Ambersons, Citizen Kane, Hush, Hush, Sweet Charlotte, then she would have cemented her legacy. But she's in one of the best Twilight Zone episodes of all time. I know you guys have. James, do you know who I'm going to say?
Go ahead.
Not only that, but she's everyone's favorite mother-in-law to hate in the 60s. We're talking about Agnes Moorehead.
Oh, God, Agnes Moorehead. Okay.
All right. If you're a fan of Bewitched, you got excited about two different character actors who came on that show. One was either Agnes Moorehead. You're like, oh, yeah, it's a mother-in-law episode. Dick's going somewhere.
Yeah.
That's funny. But they're both named Dick, so anyway, I didn't intend for that. See, double entendre, penis. And Paul Lynde.
Paul Lynde, yeah.
Right? Uncle Arthur. Agnes Moorehead is in one of the best Twilight Zone episodes, and I know we spent a lot of time on the Twilight Zone, but she plays the woman in the episode where the little space creature, the little spacemen come to attack.
Did you,
and she's in The Bat, which is hanging right over there, and that's a terrible movie with Vincent Price.
Interesting tidbit about
very much dated now.
Oh, it's very bad, but I've got the original half sheet over here on my wall because of Vincent.
Interesting tidbit about her role on Bewitched. Who was the first Dick? Was it Dick York?
I've had so many.
Was it Dick York or Dick Sargent?
Dick York.
Dick York was the first.
Yes.
Okay, so Dick York.
That sound right?
So I think you're right. So when Dick York left, because he wasn't because of pain issues, and they replaced him with Dick Sargent. Dick Sargent wasn't as comedically.
No, because Dick York had that very expressive face.
Yeah, Dick York was very expressive, very good at so they couldn't get the same performance out of Dick Sargent, so they gave more screen time to Agnes Moorehead and Paul Lynde. So that's why she got as much time as she did on Bewitched.
And whether you like Bewitched or not, I encourage you to go back. And I know I brought up Agnes Moorehead, but also Paul Lynde. Check out any episode with those two. Yeah. And she was just tremendous. She's a great character actor.
Yeah, you can't argue that. She's.
Yeah, my second one was a little hard. So, we're on to 3. And we're actually running on a decent time schedule this time.
All right. So, it's my turn.
Yes.
So, this is another one who is very famous. A lot of people know her. Diane Wiest.
Oh, that's good. If nothing else, just for Parenthood.
For Parenthood. She's in Parenthood. Edward Scissorhands. The Birdcage, for God's sake, she's
she
amazing.
always plays the mom.
She won an Oscar for Bullets Over Broadway.
Yeah.
Because my last pick on the actors episode was Edward Herrmann. She was the mother in Lost Boys, and finally, the mother in Footloose.
Now, she also did she not get? She won an Oscar in Bullets Over Broadway.
She won, for Best Supporting Actress for Bullets
that's
Over Broadway.
another Woody Allen Best Supporting Actress Oscar.
In any movie she was in, she was elevated to a whole nother level because she was in it, and she always played this very quiet, meek performance in a lot of her movies, like Edward Scissorhands,
Right.
The Birdcage, and Footloose. In Footloose, she was just the one who set in the. She didn't have the most important role in Footloose. I can't believe I'm spending so much time talking about Footloose.
But you've got to break loose.
But
Footloose.
The two of the best character actors of all time had John Lithgow and Diane Wiest in the same movie, and it had to have been Footloose. Anyway.
Hey, Kevin Bacon's basically a character actor as well.
Yeah, he is.
Who just happened. He actually saw an interview with him one time where he's talking about that just happened, those starring roles.
Yeah.
But if you notice, as the 80s and the 90s, he himself, he knew that that's not who he was.
Yeah, I mean, there's you can name 3 or 4 actors who are leading men who are amazing character actors: Brad Pitt, Johnny Depp, Kevin Bacon. But she always played the introverted female character who always guided the protagonist to their ultimate prize, whether it was love, money, or just to dance. I wrote that line. Thank you.
By the way, do you think you were talking about major actors? I know we're going back to actors, and this is not the purpose. But you were naming off like Johnny Depp and all that stuff. You know, one person I would have included in that list too, and I say this with all due respect, Sean Connery.
Oh no!
As a character actor? No, I don't see that.
In this scene, you're going to play a Russian boat captain. I'm going to do it with a Scottish accent. Okay.
That means he's a star.
Yeah, that means he's a star, and he has one range.
In one. Don't get me wrong, James.
So I
love Sean Connery.
As do I.
I would cast Sean Connery. In fact, I would have said, yes, he's a Russian boat captain.
Yeah.
Look how much better this
I'm going to play a Spaniard. I'm going to do it as a Scottish person.
I'm going to do it
at this
some
point,
sort
quite
of
frankly,
red.
even today, and he's 80-some years old, if I was doing a movie and somebody called me and went, Sean Connery wants to play the 25-year-old science genius in your film, I'd be like, yeah, okay, he's it. That's it. We ain't doing any casting.
And and then his biggest and the most obscene way that he got his way was he played an Irishman searching for leprechauns as a Scottish man.
Oh, I know.
Darby O'Gill.
I was thinking Zardoz, but that's okay.
Anyway. So
whose turn is it?
James.
Mine. And once again, I had to look up this person's name because I was going, let's go true character. Who's somebody that I've seen in so much stuff that I've watched that I don't know, but when I see her, I'm like, oh, it's her. And so I want to start with some of the films that she's been involved in. Death Race 2000.
Okay.
Rock and Roll High School.
Oh, yeah.
Shopping Mall.
Yeah.
Night of the Comet.
Yeah.
Warlock.
Yeah.
Eating Raoul.
Oh, I know who he's talking about.
I have no idea.
Looney Tunes Back in Action.
I've seen her topless.
The Devil's Rejects.
Yep.
Babylon 5.
Yeah.
House of the Devil.
Yep.
And I've already mentioned Babylon 5, which was television.
Actually, I didn't know she was in House. I don't remember her in House of the Devil. I remember Tom Noonan in House of the Devil, but I don't remember
if you
her.
were watching TV in the 80s or early 90s, you would also know her from appearances on Taxi, Buck Rogers,
Amazing.
Heart to Heart, Knight Rider, Mr. Belvedere, Murder,
Amazing.
She Wrote, Amazing Stories, Websters, Monsters, Parker Lewis Can't Lose, Wings, My So-Called Life, Highlander, and Family Matters.
And by the way, can I real quick say the Amazing Stories that she's in is the one I just watched it a few weeks ago, and I didn't remember it from watching it as a childhood, and I forgot it's actually written and directed by Paul Bartel, who also made Eating Raoul, and they worked together all through all those years.
You still haven't said the name. I have no idea who you are talking about.
Mary Warrenov. Is it Warrenov, Joe?
It's Warrenov.
Warrenov.
She is on social media. She's one of those people that I have contacted about doing Bonehead, but still waiting for her to get back with me.
So, do you know her history, Joe?
I don't know her history.
Her history
She's
is
a great
fascinating.
actress. She did several movies with Paul Bartel because Death
Well,
Race 2000,
so
Edie
there's a
Raoul.
history behind that, and that's what I was going to talk about.
Yeah.
She was part of Andy Warhol's group, The Factory. Is
Oh,
what it's
was
called,
she at the
Andy Warhol's
Factory?
She was part of the Factory, and she left.
You would know her if
briefly.
you saw her, Chad. She has a striking presence. She's a tall,
She
tall
left
lady.
briefly. Yeah, if you and it, I'm because of the Ramones, I'm pretty familiar with Rock and Roll High School, and yeah, just anyway. But she left briefly to deal with some drug addiction, and when she left,
To pick it up or put it down?
put it down.
Oh,
Put it down. When she left is when Andy Warhol was shot and was almost killed, and she literally, and she has said this in interviews. She was clean at that point, and she got scared, so she just got married, and she married Theodore. Oh, what's his last name, Joe? Directed Silent Night, Deadly Night, which she is in.
I don't know him.
Theodore Gushanti, something like that.
You found someone I don't know who they are.
Well, he was the director and writer of Silent Night, Deadly Night, and so anyway, they got married, and she got more into movies because of him.
Yeah.
Because his best known film is Silent Night, Deadly Night, but she did 3 movies with him, and then when that marriage was ending, she had met or became aware of Paul Bartel through The Factory, some connection there, and Paul Bartel says, "You've got to get out of there, come out, work with me," and that's how she ended up in Death Race.
Oh, okay.
And then she went on to work with Paul Bartel in several different movies, and the rest is kind of history. But again, she has been, and she's still active. She's got 3 movies coming out. One called Citizens, which doesn't have, it's in post production, but she has some that are completed, that have been completed for a little while, that haven't found markets yet. But still very much alive, still very much active. But you know, if you're a horror fan, again, Warlock, House of the Devil, Devil's Rejects. Devil's Rejects, she's part of the family that gets altered, we'll say.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to be completely honest. While you were talking, I looked her up. I still don't know who this Mary Warnoff is.
All right. You remember Warlock?
Yeah, I remember Warlock.
Okay. Do you know where he goes to the where the Warlock goes to the seance person who's fake?
Vaguely.
That's her. Where she
Okay.
rips her own eyeballs out, and here's my eyes to guide you.
Yeah, I can't.
That's
I'm
very
going to have to go watch Warlock.
You remember in Eating Raoul?
She
was eating Raoul.
I've never seen Eating Raoul. So
You really should
the,
watch
the reboot of the Monsters. Here Come the Monsters.
Yeah.
She's in that too.
You remember that episode of Amazing Stories she's in? That's directed by Paul Bartel.
Sorry.
Do you know? Actually, Chad, here's one for you. The if you are familiar with Death Race 2000, if you've seen the original, she's Calamity Jane.
Okay, I'm good now. Thank you, James.
That's Calamity Jane. That's
I don't remember that. Yeah, that's the one you remember.
That's the one I remember. Sorry,
Yeah,
people. James actually stumped me. All right, Joe. So what's your third?
I had to look up her name, like I said, but I kept going. I know her. She's in all this stuff I watched as a kid. That's her.
I was fighting back and forth because I wanted to say Judi Dench because I do think she's a character actor.
I would agree with you. I mean, she is,
But
by the way, worthy of being Dame Judi Dench.
She's
But at the
Dame
end of the
Judi
day,
Dench, yeah.
she's a character actor.
But at the end of the day, she's character actor. But I'm actually
I was going to complain about, because that's one thing that irritates me, is she actually won an Oscar for Shakespeare in Love, and she's in the movie for about a grand total of 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I guess that says something about her performance, but then I still remember like going, I was not that impressed with her performance that she won an Oscar.
I'm sure that's a Lifetime thing.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
It's kind of like John Wayne winning for True Grit. And by the way, it's good, but it's not his best movie.
No.
The person I'm going to mention has been in 114 things. She has been in Justified. She has been in The Good Wife. She was in excellent commercials that I've seen time and time again. However, she is one of the funniest, most laugh out loud, just make you feel better about your life films I've ever saw. August, Osage County.
Oh, God.
I love that movie. I laughed. Remember, did you ever, our friend Craig saw it posted on Facebook how it was the most depressing, horrible, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I think it's hilarious. It is Margot Martindale. Do you guys know who that is? She plays the older lady. Here, let me show you.
Oh yeah, Margot.
She's in The Americans.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's an amazing actress. I forgot she was in Walk Hard. I don't remember who she was in Walk Hard.
Isn't she the mother?
She is the mother. I think you're right.
I forget what.
I own Walk Hard. I'm one of the 15 people that saw it in theaters.
Yeah, we saw it together.
We did. You kept laughing every time there were men naked on screen.
Every time the dick shot would show up, I laughed out loud in the theater. I don't know why. It made me crack up every single time.
And all 15 people that saw it were in that theater at that time, too.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, she's a character actress. She was in a lot of things. But what I really she was in The Hollers. What I really liked her in was Justified. So Justified was a show that supposedly takes place in Lexington, Kentucky, and Harlan, Kentucky. And they got some of the signage right, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Did you watch Justified?
I've never seen an episode of Justified.
James, did you watch Justified?
I've got the first season on Blu-ray, and the thing that literally took me out of it was when they go. I think it's the first or second episode. He gets called to an accident or something on Tate's Creek, and there's a huge bridge in the background.
Yeah,
like a huge steel bridge.
Tate's Creek Bridge. They're always meeting at Tate's Creek Bridge.
That's not Tate's Creek.
That's not Tate's Creek. Yeah, I really like Justified. I think it's one of the better B shows in the last 20 years. And when I say B show, I don't mean that in any kind of negative way, shape, or form. It was solid. Always had a good villain every season. Timothy Olyphant is actually probably a character actor as well.
Yeah.
And I just enjoyed the show. And she was one of the best villains. I can't remember if it was season 3. I think it was season 3. And she played an older lady in Harlan who basically ran a lot of the drug business in and out of Harlan. And I knew I'd seen her 100 times, or at least a bunch of stuff beforehand. Not only in just TV and film, but also, and she's in several commercials. It's just, I never really, connected. You would have known her also in Dexter. She played the
yes, the one who really wanted key lime pie.
Who really wanted? That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
She really wanted a delicious key lime pie. Is dying of cancer.
There's and I'll be honest with you. While you were talking, I looked it up just to make sure I had the right person. Because as soon as you showed me the picture, I'm like, oh, that's the woman from. She's in Nobody's Fool with Paul Newman.
Yep, that's her.
Which, by the way, if you haven't seen that movie, it is one of the. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
It's a great movie. It's because it's probably Bruce Willis and Melanie Griffith's two best performances, but actually that's probably my favorite Paul Newman performance.
It's my favorite Paul Newman performance.
And that probably is saying a lot.
Yeah, that is saying a lot. I mean, it's my favorite Paul Newman.
Don't get me wrong,
film.
I like Butch Cassidy. I like the Sting, but in actual acting,
yeah. Oh man, it's bar none. That's his best
Nobody's
movie.
Fool.
But Nobody's Fool. But she is really good in it. She plays a waitress, I think, at a diner, and Paul Newman's always hitting on her, and it's hilarious. And she delivers every line deadpan. And he's saying some of the most he's always trying to hit on her and get her into bed. And she delivers she's just not interested. Every line deadpan.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal, just for her performance in Nobody's Fool, along with everybody else in that movie.
Nobody's Fool is a movie we should talk about. That's another one of those forgotten treasures, right up there with Find Me Guilty and a few others.
It was nominated for an Oscar, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but who remembers it?
I know.
Who talks about it?
I agree.
No, I'm going to put that right along there with Find Me Guilty. Find Me Guilty is another one of those great performances nobody ever talks about.
Yeah, it's Find Me. We're getting off topic again.
We'll get off topic, but
Find
some great character actors
Find Me
in it,
Guilty is Vin Diesel's best movie. Period.
It is yes.
In terms of act,
followed by Pitch Black.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's it. Sorry.
Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah. Okay. So back on the actresses.
He didn't do anything else other than those three, as far as I know.
Yeah.
I liked Riddick.
Popular as he was, that he could furiously find some fast work.
Oh,
lame.
So that's 3 apiece. Is there? How many we're gonna do?
I've got one more, and then I'm still kind of upset that nobody's picked the one that I did not pick out. So I'm gonna say
we're doing decent on time.
I'm gonna say I have 2 because nobody.
I've got, much like I did with character actors, I've got some that I'm gonna say. Here's some other ones that popped into my head.
Yeah, I've got honorable mentions as well.
All right, go ahead.
So the actress I'm gonna bring up next, I'm not going to argue Madeline Kahn, but I think this actress is actually a shade better than Madeline Kahn.
Who is it?
And is still in terms of character actresses, she's second in the first one we have not mentioned yet, Catherine O'Hara.
Oh, yeah. I don't know that she's a better actress, but she's a great character.
Oh
actress.
man, she's I think in terms of comedy and comedic timing, because I think she has Madeline Kahn beat just by a little.
Really?
Yeah, if you look at her performances, it's Catherine O'Hara, but mostly known for the mom in Home Alone, but she's also in Best in Show, Beetlejuice, Waiting for Guffman, and then there's a show that's been out for 5 years called Schitt's Creek. She is fantastic in that.
Does it get better after the first season?
Yeah, it's like every show.
I don't know that certain things got better after the first season.
So most shows get better at first. But anyway,
You know what didn't get better after the first season?
What?
Firefly.
I mean, you know, in all fairness, I'm saying it's a really close tie for who's second, Madeline Kahn or Catherine
She's
O'Hara.
a great character
But
actress,
she's
though.
phenomenal as a character actress. She's probably you could pretty much give her a script and she will deliver a memorable performance every time.
I agree with that.
She could be your straight person, like in Home Alone,
Yep.
or she could be the comedic talent, Best in Show. Not to mention that Best in Show, Waiting for Guffman, are all improvised.
Yeah.
And
Those are Christopher Guest films.
Christopher Guest films.
For you people out there.
And in all fair, and she's probably the best one in those films.
I don't know, Eugene Levy, man.
Nah, she's better than Eugene Levy.
I love Eugene
and she
Levy in
outperforms
Best in
Eugene
Show.
Levy in Schitt's Creek. She's the best part about Schitt's Creek.
I
behind
love
Eugene
in
Levy's
Best in
son.
Show. That's my favorite. That is by far my favorite Christopher Guest film.
And did you know she directed two things?
What are they?
She directed an episode of the forgotten show Dream On with Chris Elliott, which, by the way, is a really funny and bizarre show from the early 90s, I think.
Late 80s, early 90s, yeah.
Yeah, and then also she directed an episode of Outer Limits.
Huh.
She directed an episode called Glyphic. It's about this has been done to death, but all the adults have been wiped out by a virus, and their kids. There's kids. It's all populated by kids. She did that episode.
Okay.
So Catherine O'Hara, I feel like people know who she is, but they just don't know how much of an impact she's made.
Yeah.
And Beetlejuice, behind Michael Keaton, who does a better performance in Beetlejuice? Catherine O'Hara.
I'm
the best. Boom.
Nope,
James,
not
what's your
gonna
next
argue.
one?
I've got 4 in front of me, and I'm torn between a couple of them, but I'm going to go with this one because it made me actually step back and go, again, when she's in something, I zone in on her performance. I'm going to go with Christine Baranski.
Yeah.
She's my honorable mentions. James, me and him are on the same page.
Christine
Did you
Baranski
just do
because
this?
I just
when-
did this
For you
because I got
people
excited.
listening, he just slung his fingers up and down in the air.
I got excited.
Like he just doesn't.
Because I was hoping
care.
somebody was going to bring up Christine Baranski.
I thought about
But,
it.
well,
I just
because
couldn't
if
do
you
it.
think about it, Joe mentioned Agnes Moorehead on Bewitched. Any episode of The Big Bang
Yeah,
Theory
yeah.
where she plays Dr. Beverly
I
Hofstadter
didn't know I never watched the show.
Yeah.
is a better episode.
I don't watch that show because what's his name stole my freaking way I dress.
But everything else that she's in,
plays
I mean,
Leonard's
she's in
mom.
Chicago.
Oh,
and has tortured him for 34 years
nice.
and prefers
Uh,
Sheldon.
So,
Sheldon.
you know, in Chicago, she plays the reporter that more or less gets played by Richard Gere.
Yeah.
It's that scene I just automatically zoom in on because she does it so well. Just all these different things. I remember watching her in Sybil back when I was, younger, not a kid exactly. But when
She's
I
the
was
best
younger.
part about that show.
She is the best part about
What?
Sybil, and that's another Chuck Lorre show, right?
Yep.
Yep, but she
I'm
was
almost
in
positive that's
Bulworth.
also a Chuck Lorre show.
What'd you say?
Bulworth, The Birdcage.
Oh,
I mean,
Bulworth, yeah.
everything that she's in is just 9.5 weeks. You watch a movie that she's in, and
I don't
she
remember her 9.5 weeks. I was actually sitting here thinking she's in the Grinch, and all of a sudden I hear,
Yeah.
"You remember her 9.5 weeks?"
I really don't remember her 9.5
I
weeks.
don't remember her 9.5 weeks either.
But even, and I'm not a big fan of I don't hate it, but I'm not a big fan of Mamma Mia. But my kids love it, especially Amelia. And, to me, she's one of the better parts of Mamma Mia.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because she has, And
I
the fact
disagree.
that-
It's Pierce Brosnan singing.
I prefer. Oh, what's his name that was
I had
in
to listen to it. Christy was the
Exorcist at the
soundtrack.
beginning?
What? The Exorcist, the beginning?
Stellan Skarsgård.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His best musical performance there. But the other thing is, she's willing to do a lot of work, and some work that even mocks herself. She was herself in an episode of Family Guy.
Yeah.
You know, she's done. She did the Michael Jackson Halloween special. I mean, it's not quite the David S. Pumpkin Halloween special that I loved, but we give her credit. So again, everything from American Dad, she has this interesting sense of humor, and if she's in it, it's better. And much like Agnes Moorehead, I would argue that she, as far as playing a mother character that just makes things complicated, her character there is just about flawless. And so yeah, I had to mention Christine Baranski.
All right, my
Kudos,
turn.
James.
Excuse
Bless
me.
you.
Excuse
I mean,
me,
go to
audience.
hell.
I'm going to tell you who the best character
Every day.
actress of all time is.
Okay.
Cloris Leachman.
Bingo. That was
Yeah.
the one I was waiting for everybody to mention.
She's 92 years old. She'll be 93. I was waiting for one of you all. In fact, if you looked
Yep.
at it, I pulled it up on my phone, was ready to go.
No,
Because I
that's-
thought,
I
That
didn't.
was on my list, but I was like, no, somebody's going to do it. I
who
kept
is
waiting.
better than Cloris Leachman?
There is nobody better. That's who I was waiting for everybody to mention. She's the one that's behind Madeline Kahn and Catherine O'Hara. She's the best actor.
And don't get me. I think for longevity, her and Betty White are going at that.
Yeah.
But Betty White is an entertainer, and I mean this with no disrespect. Betty White is a national treasure.
Yeah.
It'll be a sad day when she goes. She's made me laugh for hours and hours. But as far as actual acting,
She's not Cloris Leachman.
Cloris Leachman is a wonderful actress. And if for no other reason, I beg you, if you've never done it, go out and watch The Last Picture Show. She plays, she's the wife of the coach, and she has an affair with one of the guys. And The Last Picture Show is based on a book written by Larry McMurtry, and they'd later do a sequel called Texasville, which actually is pretty good too. And they're both directed by Peter Bogdanovich. But she's a mother who she's a wife of the coach of the town football coach. She's lonely, and she has an affair with one of his students. And that's one of the many subplots in the movie. And I really think you should go out if you've not. And have you guys seen The Last Picture Show?
I can say I have not seen it. It's the only.
James, have you ever watched it?
It's been a long
It's
time.
right over there, Chad. Take it home with you. If you're listening right now, or if you're watching us, it's one of my favorite movies. Larry McMurtry also wrote Lonesome Dove. He's another one of those national treasures, and he's an interesting cat all into himself as well. We could do a whole episode on him. There was a documentary made about him. It's something about the man at the Dairy Queen. He goes to the same Dairy Queen every day, and they know his order, and they have it written behind the thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
And everybody knows who Cloris Leachman is.
Yeah, and I mean, for example,
She'll be 93.
Yeah, there's a TV show. Everybody, well,
What?
people watching this show probably know Malcolm in the Middle.
They do know Malcolm in the Middle, but there's also Raising Hope.
But Malcolm in the Middle, yeah, but Raising Hope, she's amazing in Raising Hope.
She's the best part of
I
Raising
love
Hope.
Raising Hope, and because of her. But Malcolm in the Middle, you have Bryan Cranston doing an amazing performance, but also the episodes where she comes in as the German grandmother.
Uh-huh. I don't think I've ever actually saw this.
They are hilarious.
But she also, if you're a big Disney fan, and I watch it with my kids, and when I first saw it, I didn't think I'd love it, but she plays Dr. Doofenshmirtz's mother in Phineas and Ferb.
Oh, does she?
And nails it. Like, even it's a cartoon, and I'm like, that's Cloris Leachman. That has to. By the way, Malcolm McDowell plays one of the grandparents of Phineas and Ferb. But I want to mention that one of the best, probably, roles that she's done in the past 20 years, she did it uncredited.
What?
The grandmother in Bad Santa.
She's uncredited in that movie?
I didn't know she was uncredited in that.
Watch it. She is not credited. And so that entire scene, and I watched it over Christmas. It's family tradition. We watch Bad Santa. Not the kids, but Dana and I watch it. And the entire scene where Billy Bob Thornton and what's the actress's name from Gilmore Girls? Anyway,
it's call her Gilmore Girls woman.
is it Lauren
Lorelai.
Graham? Sure.
It's something Grant, yeah.
But when they come home and they've been drinking and she looks like she's dead in the chair, and you see Billy Bob Thornton get closer and closer and close, and then all of a sudden, you want to eat sandwiches? Laugh every time.
She's also the best part. Speaking of old grannies, she's the best part of Beer Fest, the Broken Lizard movie.
Yeah.
Gam Gam was a whore.
She's in Sky High, which has Bruce Campbell in it as the
Sky
coach.
High is not a bad movie, by the way.
No, but she plays the nurse. She's in Scary Movie 4.
Is she really?
I've never seen
No,
it.
I mean,
I don't know if I've seen it. Is that one still got Charlie Sheen in it?
I think so. She's in The Croods with Nick Cage, and she's going to be in the sequel. She's still got stuff coming out.
Now, Cloris Leachman is the best character actress of all time.
You can't.
Chad, you didn't mention her work in the Justice League action series.
I didn't know she was in that.
She's playing Granny Goodness.
Oh, really? Sorry, Ed Asner still does the best performance as Granny Goodness.
That's best. She's in American Gods.
The new season?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah,
I only saw the old season. I don't remember being in it.
So, but she's also got a new movie coming out called A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Castle. And her character's actor name is Tommy One Finger.
And
I don't know what the movie's about,
but
I want to see that movie.
Yeah, yeah.
And let's not forget her wonderful work as Mel Brooks. With Mel Brooks. Once
Frau
again,
Blucher.
Frau Blucher may very well be one of the funniest lines of all time. Frau Blucher.
He was my boyfriend.
I just don't know.
Ovaltine, perhaps?
Ovaltine? She's also in High Anxiety. She's funny in that.
So yeah, I'm glad we ended on Cloris Leachman in terms of, unless James, you got one you want to talk about? Cause
no, I've only got my honorable mentions yet that I literally we're coin flipping
we're
between.
getting a little close on time. Do you want to do like one or two honorable mentions?
Yeah,
and then we'll wrap up.
And I've got 4. I'm just going to talk about them real fast. So Laurie Metcalf.
Yeah, she's a great actress.
Amanda Plummer.
Another great actress.
Chad took one of mine. There, you got me back, Chad.
Yeah.
That was one of my honorables.
And Catherine Hahn, who is she's a modern actress. You look her up, you go, oh, that's her. She was in Anchorman. And then I'm going to end on Loretta Devine.
Who's Loretta Devine?
You would know her if you saw her. She's been in a ton of things.
Oh, didn't she do all those movies with John Waters?
He said something Hahn, and I was thinking Jessica Hahn.
That's Loretta Devine.
Oh, yeah. She is a good actress. All right, James, who is your honorable mentions?
I cut these two out because I thought they were almost too mainstream. And not mainstream as in everybody knew them, but I still argue that they're character actresses. Tilda Swinton.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She was. I almost brought her up.
And I know, and people hate on her, and I have no idea why.
She's probably the reigning mainstream queen of character actors right now.
Yeah, she's the female Christopher Walken.
Yeah, because she's in Snowpiercer and is almost unrecognizable.
Yeah.
Well,
now, Christopher Walken is recognizable. What would she be the equivalent to? Or who would be the equivalent to her? Of just slipping into a role like that?
I don't know.
I think Tilda Swinton is the female Tilda Swinton.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
and the male one.
She is almost unrecognizable.
Yeah.
As Tilda Swinton, but she does it so well. She's the ancient one in Doctor Strange. She's in Constantine as the angel, as a Gabriel.
Yeah,
she's great in the Jim Jarmusch film.
Constantine fans, but I think Tilda Swinton's probably the best part of that movie.
Which
her
one?
and Peter Stormare.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can't. Yeah,
Constantine. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Peter Stormare, man. You can't.
No.
Chronicles of Narnia.
Yeah.
And Burn After Reading. I mean, that's just off the top of my head.
Yeah.
So
only lovers are left alive. Only lovers left alive.
Yeah, that's another one.
She's really good.
And my other one that I edged out because I thought that she may be teetering on not being character actor is Helena Bonham Carter.
She's a good character actress,
yeah, she's
man.
A good character.
Queenie Todd, King's Speech, Les Mis, Harry Potter, Alice in Wonderland.
Her and another character actor, Paul Giamatti, are the best parts of that shitty Tim Burton Planet of the Apes movie.
Yeah.
They're the two best parts, both playing apes.
And it's, like I said, in a movie with Brad Pitt and Edward Norton, she gives an amazing performance in Fight Club.
Yeah.
Fight Club. I should have had that on the list because Marla,
does she act those two?
I think she did act out those two.
I mean, don't get me wrong. She has the best part, though.
Yeah.
Out of the
Marla
three
is-
of them.
yeah,
Her
yeah.
and Brad Pitt have the two good parts.
Yeah.
Poor Ed Norton has to play it straight.
Yep.
Brad Pitt can just be batshit, and she can just be batshit.
Right.
Brad
the
Pitt's
way,
another good actor
real
who
quick, and
probably
this is
should have been a
completely non
character
sequitur,
actor.
but I saw it last night, and you brought up Brad Pitt as Tyler Durden. Robot Chicken on Adult Swim did a mashup of Foster's Imaginary Home,
Yeah.
whatever, and this girl's there to adopt an imaginary pet, and she adopts Tyler Durden. I laughed for 3 minutes. I couldn't stop. Because it's got all
That's
lined up. No, I don't want that one.
Yeah.
I want him, and it pans over. It's Tyler Durden, and he goes home and is beating up all her plush toys. It was
That's ingenious. All right,
Robot
guys.
Chicken plug. I don't get paid by them unless Seth Green gives me a call.
So, really quick,
great.
we need to wrap up. I just want to recommend that so we've added Spotify, but a lot of you aren't actually listening on Spotify, I've noticed. Only had a couple pickups. We did have one more YouTube subscriber.
Woo!
So we really need you to go out and rate us on iTunes, subscribe to YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, all these places. Go out there.
Rate us.
We rate us. We are actually, like you said, if you're listening to us and you think, oh, it sounds better. I know, we spent some money, all right? We're trying to make things better.
That being said, and you may think subscribing doesn't matter,
It does.
but the only way we get sponsors, the only way that we get back some of what we've invested, not only in time, but also in money, and loss of sex appeal, and all those other things that we've had to deal with, is if you click subscribe.
And if you don't care about our money and you do enjoy watching us, that's actually how we get guests.
Yes.
They say yes or no depending on how many people are listening and watching. So share us, subscribe. I know I say this every episode, but I want to keep saying it until we get into the thousands. Share it and subscribe, okay? We actually have some pretty cool in-person interviews and guests lined up, actually. So over the next couple of weeks, that'll be happening. We've not quite figured out how we're going to get James on some of these. We'll be working on it, maybe. Possibly.
Yeah. And for our YouTube, come at me, George Lucas. Come at me.
I want to say real quick, if you listen to us and you follow us maybe on Twitter or something like that, we do recommend you follow us on Facebook.
Yeah.
For the reason that we do occasionally do a Facebook Live. Usually Spot does them, not
Yeah.
always Spot. But so we got a little bit of kickback saying that when we did our best of, we didn't do video games or a couple other things. So Spot is going to take on those topics. So and if you don't know who Spot is, follow us on Facebook. You'll find out.
And watch some of the earlier shows. So thank you all so much. This has been Bonehead, and we are out of here.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, okay. Bye bye. Oh look, I could just push stop. Boop.